who quit a good-paying Slowlane job and is now a Fastlaner. I would love to hear some quick stories from people who left their good-paying Slowlane or corporate or whatever job and became a thoroughbred Fastlaner. I find these stories and interesting. It's tough to leave a solid, consistent, and secure job, especially if you have a family to support. But man, we know what's possible. Many of us dream of doing it. Some of us go for it. A few examples. Exclamation mark. Question mark. Quit my job in June 2014 when I was about to get a promotion that would lead to 6 figures. Instead of the extra responsibility and hours, I spent 2 years driving from city to city, traveling across the country. This one is from Seattle to the East Coast in fall 2015, 3 weeks after I quit my job. Awesome. Thanks. Because I needed to know. I quit my job in November 2015. At the time I had a pretty good job as a car salesman. I had a 2016 Mustang and was living in an apartment with a 12-month contract. I was tired of working for other people, so I quit the job. I sold the Mustang for a big loss right before it was about to be repossessed. I got out of my apartment by having another person sign over the lease for me right before I was about to be evicted. Then I worked on figuring out how to make money from my laptop. I started an e-commerce store and made some money from that. Then I got into copywriting and web design for clients. I wouldn't say this is Fastlane, but I'm making my entire income working at home on my laptop, which was one of the goals. Now I have the opportunities to work on and fund more ventures. Awesome, sounds like you're on the right track. And great that you're working entirely from your laptop. Cool goal. Sorry about the Mustang, though. As a former V8 Mustang modder, I hope you build up enough to get that sucker back. I did, but not in the traditional sense. I bootstrapped companies and double-dipped income with fat consulting gigs as long as I possibly could. I had extremely high-paying consulting gigs, but I kept them until I could justify leaving them. The freedom date is the date where your passive income exceeds your regular income. On that day, you are free to leave, free to double dip as long as you can, free to do whatever. I have written elsewhere on the forum about navigating to your freedom date. But I didn't go all in, as some on the forum have. I tried to maintain the best of both worlds, but then did eventually wane off the high-income revenue streams as soon as my business was able to sustain and grow itself, and sustain me on top of that. I did the exact same thing. In fact, for most solid income earners, I believe this is a more realistic approach. The trick is freeing up the time to pull it off. I just quit my job about a month ago. However, I am far from calling myself a Fastlaner. You can check my post here. I worked for HP for many years with the full intention of retiring with them. One day I had a revelation and began working on a plan. 2 years later, I quit my job. My ex-wife quit hers as well. The next few years had its ups and downs, although mostly ups. The ex could not take the lifestyle of feeling little security. We parted ways and she went back to work. But, she took her $1 million with her from the settlement. It has been 17 years since I have worked for somebody else. I left a job that paid me way too much to ride around in helicopters and dodge mortars. Not a forever job, but a well-paying one if I took different contracts with the company. I'm no thoroughbred, but my revenue is approaching my old salary now. I quit my job as a business account executive 6 figures back in February to start a small business. I haven't launched just yet as the field I'll be working in requires loads of equipment that I just finished sourcing yesterday. I plan to launch in August. I've never quit to become a Fastlaner. I've always had my hand forced. But the last time this happened, I had a six-figure salary and was on top of the world as someone who lived in a rural part of the Midwest. Forced to exit, I simply had enough of the BS with getting the carpet pulled from under me and started down my own path with affiliate marketing, lead gen, and building my own SaaS. What a timely thread for me. I expect or hope to be in this boat in the coming months. Subscribe and will read all of the references, stories or threads for inspiration. Sent from my iPhone using TaperTalk. Interesting thread. I'm on the verge of handing my notice in on the day job. I'm not in the position I need to be in. I have no buffer, a family and a wedding to pay for, but I'm finding it so hard not to leave anyway. There will always be something holding you back. I'm equally scared and excited at the thought that my company next month could make nothing, or it could make enough to pay all my bills, debts and wedding in 1 month. The salary job can't do that. I will only find out if I make the leap. I took advice from the Fastlane forums and quit working for a successful call center that bleeds its agents worse than the people from Maze Runner, Scorch Trials. I was making a steady paycheck and had $1K in the bank. Not much, but a good start to a low life with a steady plus 300 every 2 weeks. It sucked. I walked out, and starting my company is terrifying, unnerving. And I have never felt so I'm nowhere to the point of making $1 million. Right now I'm trying to attract a venture capitalist. But trust me, it's a much more enjoyable experience wondering what the heck I'm going to do for next week's food, while flying on an airplane to unknown city, and speaking to hundreds of business owners, meeting people from Shark Tank, and trying to find the right deal. Than it ever was to take phone calls as a cog in a slowly churning machine of people spending their days sighing and getting fat off of vending machine snacks. Excellent. Good luck and look forward to hearing how it goes. What an awesome statement. Great to hear you have no regrets. Great writing, and I really resonate with this. I walked out, and starting my company is terrifying, unnerving. And I have never felt so alive. I don't know if my story qualifies for this thread, but I'll share it and see what the feedback might say. Once upon a time, I had a job that I really enjoyed. I did interesting work with interesting technology, working at a place that was actually pleasant to work at. I wasn't paid all that well though, and eventually realized that I'd never have the lifestyle I want in my chosen career field. However, I also saw several opportunities that my employer didn't want to pursue and thought that I'd love to fill the needs of those customers. That could serve as the path to get me where I wanted to be, but it also meant I'd have to quit this job I liked. I don't know if you believe in Providence or God or not, but as soon as I decided to leave my old career behind, I got a call from a company close to home, completely out of the blue. Now this is particularly important because the job I enjoyed entailed over an hour commute each way, which left me too tired to spend much time working on anything. This new opportunity was just a couple minutes from home, and although I knew nothing about it, I took the job. I basically got the same pay with almost 3 hours to utilize each day, and I was saving considerably on commuting costs. I've been using that savings to bootstrap my project. I've also been using the extra time to work on my project each day, as well as I can, which you will understand if you're a family man like myself. I now consider myself a Fastlane business owner, since that's my primary focus. I just happen to still have a 9-to-5 job to keep food on the table until my new business can take over. It will take time, and the road ahead is unknown, but at least I'm moving in the right direction. I remember it vividly. I was director of a music school, which I helped establish. I hustled. I taught a lot. The second year in operation, my income touched $100,000. Tax time came, blew me the FCK away. I'd been paying quarterly, but in the end owed a large chunk. My CPAs told me that they took every deduction known to mankind, and there was nothing more they could do. I was making the wrong kind of money in the wrong kind of way. Started buying in 2006. Some say I did great. Others say I could have done more. But, whichever way you put it, I haven't had a job since 2013. And now my wife doesn't either. We find him interesting and stimulating, but unstable and potentially highly taxed. Real estate income is much more stable, and structured correctly offers a shelter not just for its own sake, but likely other income as well. I am selling my house in Ohio as we speak, as well as some other assets, and we are relocating to AS. Why? 'Cause we want to. Real estate and income allows us to live more so on our own terms than most people. Not everyone. A lot of folks here are far more down the fast lane. But, we are certainly better off than most. Looking forward to knocking some heads in Arizona. Went to college to be a chemical engineer quite a few years ago. My goal was to graduate and get a good job as an engineer. I'd buy real estate over time and eventually build up a portfolio big enough to quit my job and live off the passive income. 2 years into the degree last summer, I got my first internship. My friends were mad as hell they couldn't get one and how lucky I was to have it. Yes, even engineers have a hard time finding internships or jobs. It was a 3-semester-long internship, May 2015 to May 2016, with the chance of being able to renew it if things went well to eventually be a full-time employee. Their start pay is around $90,000 a year. They're not including quarterly bonuses. Internship pay was about $16 an hour. June 2015, I realized that I didn't want to work as a chemical engineer anymore. Between engineering classes and an internship, you have very little free time to work on a business on the side, so I quit that job with no source of income in August of 2015. I still want to get my degree, because I love doing research into clean, sustainable energy. Without that degree, I can't work in these labs. Back on topic, it wasn't until January of 2016 that I finally figured out what I wanted to do and got that business going. My business doesn't obey all of the commandments, but I know it well and how to grow it, and it can scale really well because the people in this market are bad at what they do and it's hard to find someone that does the job right. I've made a lot of mistakes, but none big enough to put the company in the ground. Fast forward 5 months later and the business is very successful. I'm by no means Fastlane, but I'm working my way towards how I've always wanted to live my life. I don't want to ever stop working. I just love the fulfillment or feeling of purpose you get when you are running your own business, saving people money and making their lives easier. Hopefully my story was useful to you as motivation to do what you've always wanted to do. Thanks. You have a super inspirational story, especially with the MS and other obstacles. I still have a lot to learn from you. Great quote. Thanks, and certainly motivating. I quit my job as a software engineer 5 years ago. Since that date I work as a freelancer as much as I have to and use most of my time working on my own business. I sold my first SaaS company last year, no big money, but it wasn't fulfilling the Fastlane criteria. While I can't use 100% of my time for my own work, I get paid a very good hourly rate for learning all the stuff I need to learn for my clients' projects. My wife is officially employed still, but currently she is in parental leave. Is this the correct wording? When our son starts with kindergarten in October, she will join our company, since she's a software developer. Not completely Fastlane yet, but as close as we could get until now. I'm the one doing the learning. I appreciate you a lot. We've done some substantive things together already, but I see us doing some big shit, both online and in real estate. I did exactly the same and still do. Great stuff and good luck. I joined this forum a long time ago. But it took a couple of years of hanging out here, and quite a few years prior to arriving here, before I stopped being a entrepreneur. I took the plunge and quit my day job and started my business at about the same time. Sink or swim. It was quite liberating. My day job was one that would have paid north of 100k or within 1 to 2 more years. The job itself had a lot of enjoyable moments, and I do miss it from time to time. But I've never regretted the decision to jump. I've had a lot of ups and downs in the years since. But things are growing strong. And with our projections for this year, we'll overtake some of our largest competitors. We're in a very capital-intensive business, but have never had to take on any investors. My wife and I are sole owners. And we became self-made millionaires at 28. From the book, I have a number in mind that I'm trying to hit. It's 8 figures. While we won't have that net worth for probably a few more years, if we hit our projections this year, we will have an asset that produces the same income as my number would at a 5% return. If we hit that goal this year, I'll write a more in-depth story about my journey for the benefit of those here. I've now worked for myself since 2010, when I was 24 years old. By the way, use your industry expertise. I have had several short-term consulting gigs. All of them came to me from LinkedIn. Some as short as a few hours worth of research and interviews with analysts. And, last year, I had some side consulting money that paid me nearly 6 figures. Not bad for a side gig with very little time investment. I just sent out this morning a proposal to a company. If all goes well, it will bring in $200k plus over the next 12 months. On the side. The criteria for these gigs are that they are buying expertise, not time. I'll agree to specific deliverable, but not specific hours. My time is not for sale. My expertise is. Point being, this doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing game. You should be able to cash in on what you know. If I were a former FBI guy, I would do security consulting. If I were a former HR executive, I would do company restructuring consulting. If I were an MBA, I would do business strategy stuff. If I were a former accountant, I would straighten out people's hardcore IRS tax issues for huge premiums. Milk it while you can. As the more separation there is between you and the corporate world, the less valuable or relevant your skill set is. Wow, congrats man. I featured your post to randomize on the front page. Awesome source. Outstanding. Great stuff. Okay, well, this happened yesterday, so I guess I've just quit a well-paying Slowlane job to go Fastlane. Something I had wanted to do for years but never actually done it until I read TMFL, joined the forum and realized that this is the life I want to lead, successful or not. Hopefully my story will be as successful as the original posters. Sink or swim. Wow, that is powerful. That really clicked with me. I make too much money in my normal job, so I am adjusting that to when I make half as much passively than what I make now is when I quit. There are layoffs going on right now and I actually want to try and volunteer for one if I can. If I can be packaged off with a pro-rated bonus for what I have worked for the year, and 3 to 5 months' salary, I will do that. I don't know how to volunteer to be packaged off when they're laying people off, but if anyone has advice in this, please let me know. Another way to look at it is to quit when your income meets your needs to live. We sold our beach house and moved to Arizona to give us the freedom. I waited for a while and talked to superiors to try and get a package to leave. Didn't get one though. They began offering them shortly after I quit. Oh well. Did not need it anyway. Thanks MJ. Appreciate it. Was wondering what happened. My alerts suddenly blew up for this thread. I joined LinkedIn a couple months back. Haven't really used it yet. But is there a specific way you go about getting these gigs? A way that you get your name out to those in your industry of expertise that you have wisdom to share with? I'd imagine it goes beyond just friending people in your industry and waiting for them to view your profile and assuming you can help them. I'm probably one of the youngest owners in my industry that isn't financed by investors. I'm not sure if I've much to teach, but I'm also beating a lot of the old guys at the game. So maybe I do. Would be a nice side income gig. Very inspiring thread. I have a good paying job, £100k plus, and I only work 3 days a week. I love what I do, no stress, no overhours, etc. So it is just not bad enough to make me quit at the moment. And I have huge responsibilities. I have 6 children, so I am not taking any risks that would put their security in danger. However, I'm somewhere halfway towards Fastlane. My wife has not worked in the past 8 years. I am making some side businesses, nowhere near my salary yet, but it would be enough to provide a very modest lifestyle in case I quit or lost my job. About a year ago I have started some online businesses, selling downloadable digital materials. I have sales, but that business is not that excites me too much anymore. I keep it going, but I am thinking of scaling and outsourcing most of the activities. A lot more exciting side income for me is real estates. I am more or less involved in since I was about 16. I'm 35 now, via my stepfather, and I still enjoy it, so I take it as a sign. In the past few years I could afford investing more in business than before. I used to be dead broke. Also, my salary makes it possible to invest about £1,500 monthly, which I am spending mostly on purchases, repairs and refurbishing. I am doing both flipping and long-time renting, depending on the opportunity. The good thing with is that you are moving larger sums of money at once, instead of dealing with one-digit sales. I have 6 at the moment, 4 of which are fully paid. One has a mortgage ending in 2 years, and another one I am paying monthly to the owner, ending in 3 years. I am buying another plot of land right next to a lake, and I will build a camping site and children's recreation center there. Also, I have found a good product, health and beauty, and I have a meeting with the manufacturer soon. I plan to get exclusivity for a few Western European countries. Then I could plan a robust strategy to grow, instead of being just one distributor among many others. I have experience in this. So I still have my job because of the benefits that I can invest that money in my side businesses, and that all other incomes can stay within those businesses instead of buying bread. But I am planning to move to a consultant role that would give me a lot more freedom and money, talking about 10-20k per week. I think I will be ready in a few years, as I need to have a solid track record to have enough clients. Thank you for the thread. Awesome stories, guys. So, saw a FB ad buy for his book. There was a link to take a quiz. I did. According to Justin's quiz, I am a shitty entrepreneur, should quit should quit him, should not even think about syndicating apartments, and should instead go get a job. Well, crap, I thought to myself. Justin, as always, it's all your damn fault. LOL. I was a tax lawyer at a big law firm and quit my job after 3 years. In my 3rd year I read more than 20 books like TGR, Anthony Robbins, and took the plunge. Once I did it, I've never looked back. Outstanding. Those books are dangerous. I got fired 2 years ago. Does that count? This is outstanding. What a cool way to share. Best of luck. Wanted to say thanks for asking the question. Very encouraging for a newbie here to read about those who've done it, or are in the process. Awesome. Sounds like me. I did the same, now working back in the States on night shift, making close to 6 figures. I go in at 11 p.m. and get off at 7 a.m. During the day, I concentrate on building my businesses. I wouldn't consider it good pay, but I was on $55,000 before quitting my 9-to-5 banking job to open my own cleaning biz. Family has lots of exp in this field, so it was a no-brainer to start off with. Working 18 hours a week, I was already making more than the 9-to-5 on a weekly basis. Started this biz July this year but have slowed down toward the end of the year. I intend to automate the biz in 2017 and move on to a bigger projects. Happens often. Heck, I just got this via Twitter DM not more than 24 hours ago. Wise words, man. I quit my Slowlane career in September to go full-time in my Fastlane business. I'm not a big contributor here, mainly because the information more experienced members add surpasses what I can contribute. A big thanks to MJ. Reading his book and being a member of this forum made me believe it was possible. I tried to send you a message but it wouldn't go. I would love to know more about how you get consulting gigs via LinkedIn. I have improved profitability for my employer by raising utilization rates or implementing pricing initiatives, as well as raised customer service levels. I feel like these are very valuable but have no idea how I would use them to get consulting work. I'd love to hear your input. What kind of cleaning business? They find me. For me it is only due to my pedigree of working for the world's largest retailers. They find me on LinkedIn. Stories are part of numbers. What interests me is the actual numbers. The news are filled with isolated stories, the guy who won the lottery, the guy who do this or that. Quick calculation. Conversion rate equals numbers of Fastlane millionaires or numbers of readers of books and forum x 100. Let's say there are 100,000 readers forum and books. I don't know the number. Well, let's say there are 1,000 millionaires here. 1,000 or 100,000 by 100 equals 1%. The conversion rate is not that interesting, so the main question. I had an awesome business development role at a huge tech company and it was the definition of a comfy Slowlane job. I did very well there but realized how miserable I was after 7 months. I was making around 80k, which is pretty good for a 24-year-old out of college. I also read and realized that it's now or never to jump into this. I actually plan on creating a progress thread this weekend to go over everything. Left a 6-figure job at Microsoft in 2013 to pursue the app business. Definitely don't miss a thing. Just curious, how much funds did you have in the bank to cover your expenses during the transition? Or did you work in the app while working as MSFT? Sent from my iPhone using TaperTalk. I'll be joining this list very shortly. Background. Quitting my 6-figure investment banking job in 2 weeks and moving from NYC to Arizona to pursue a Fastlane venture. I've been working on my Fastlane business for approximately 3 months now and have been putting in hours every single night after work and on weekends. The work culture is absolutely miserable, and when I decided it had enough, fortunately I stumbled upon MJ's book and the forum here. I am a pretty frugal person, so I have a nice safety net as I get started. The Fastlane business is involving personalized coaching for an industry I've been heavily involved with for the last 5 to 6 years. Not me, but I know, as I'm sure there are numerous other members who have left high-paying Slowlane jobs to pursue the Fastlane lifestyle. I started the app business on the side while still traditionally employed. That December was the first month things started to take off. By the end, my business revenue for the month was just slightly more than double my before-tax pay for the month. I quit the following April, and my revenues only increased, giving me all the confidence I needed. Since I was already living below my means on the job salary, between that and the business income, during that 4 to 5 month period, I was able to bank more cash than I had ever had before, and continue to build on it after that. Truth. I have yet to leave my 6-figure Slowlane job, but I'm on the path. And that's not because I dislike it, the exact opposite. Great people or boss. But rather because it's fragile and my job is ultimately dependent on a handful of variables outside of my control, which is unacceptable. Sorry I can't tell my story yet, but I do know what it's like to have a well-paying job that supports the family while yearning for something more. And I should add that one of the challenges in telling anybody is that you look a bit spoiled in your first world problem. In other words, I have an amazing job that I love that pays me insanely well, and yet I want something more. Hard to find anyone who can relate except here, or that's awesome to hear. I've got a good paying gig and am working on the side but struggle to make any fast progress given things move at a snail's pace. Staring at a computer for another few hours is tough after a full day's worth doing it. Are you outsourcing any activities? I tried to do everything, which I know is a bad move, but I feel like outsourcing itself requires time. Sent from my iPhone using TaperTalk. I don't have a family yet, but the pressure is on to start one. But I think I am scared to high hell of having a family and a normal Slowlane job. I, along with others, some of which are way smarter or skilled than me, have been laid off for ridiculous reasons. Company stock down, management changes their mind every 3 months, general economy, etc. I rather be the captain of my own ship. I truly think there's no security at a job, unless you live in Europe with those labor laws. When you are in charge, I think you have more security, or at least have visibility to be road ahead. Sent from my iPhone using TaperTalk. When you're in charge, you have more control over your actions, but I'm not necessarily sure about security. I agree on visibility, or at least direction. I work with someone who owns a consulting business, and while he has tremendous flexibility and can do the job in his sleep, clients can just up and leave him. He's relatively diversified, but it still hurts. At a 9 to 5 you can get fired, sure, but most days you also just walk out the door at 5 p.m. and wait on your paycheck without much thought for anything else behind the scenes. It's good you have a burning desire for something more, but I don't begrudge anyone in the Slowlane. We need them. They served me coffee in first class this morning on my way back from Dallas. Fair points. I guess having seen people work hard, do a good job and be talented, and still get canned because the stock price is down a few pennies or investors didn't make 20% gains did it for me. Then again, I've always worked in sales or marketing, so it might be a bit more aggressive in these areas. I quasi made the leap a few months ago from a very lucrative but uninspiring corporate life. My previously planned exit, sale of company or employer, fell through. But the hallmark of large public companies, the periodic restructuring, i.e. mass layoffs, reared its head, and up my hand went once I knew I had a couple consulting clients lined up for post-exit. Between the exit package, pre-existing savings, and the consulting work, I have a couple of years of runway. But consulting long-term isn't much different from a job, so I consider that just a stopgap or cushion and don't plan to spend more than half my time on it. I have a few things in evaluation, all of which would require partners and outside capital or would entail joining another early venture with meaningful equity participation. We'll see what strikes in the coming months. Exciting times. My path or journey has been crap job analyst, decent pay, grunt work, strategy consultant, great pay, PPT or XLS, big toll on time, lots of travel equals more hours, less pay, management job at global company, bureaucracy, office politics, lots of meetings, digital marketing, freelancer, raw part-time entrepreneur, next stop, full-time entrepreneur. Working on SaaS startup and an e-com venture.